What's going on, guys? Sailor Turn Gamer is in the building, and we are coming at you again with another Dauntless video today. Well, let me start this off by saying I was going to do another video, but wow. As soon as I got home, I realized Phoenix Labs dropped some major news on us, and I had to talk about this information today. Yes, today we are talking all about Boreus. If that's not how you properly pronounce that, if we ever get a proper pronunciation, I will say his name correctly in the future. But for now, he's Boreus. Boreus is the next big step in Dauntless' ever-evolving world, and we're going to talk all about that today. Now let's get into the video. We were hunting a particular clever strafe, outer arm of the maelstrom, when we saw the flying things. You could see them right away. They weren't ordinary beasts, but something more akin to behemoths. Now you know me. I'm not the type to attack wildlife without reason. Yet as soon as I saw those strange flyers, I knew they were going to be trouble. While Yair, Gurendi, and Zavan went ahead to catch up with the strafe, I peeled off to deal with those little monsters. They looked lost. I almost felt sorry for them. Truth be told, the last one lasted until it hit me with a frozen spitball that almost knocked me off the island. Good thing I bounced back quick, or the beast might have ended me. And I managed to drive them off without too many more nicks and bruises. After we deal with this strafe, I think the team should track these flying critters back to their source, see where they came from, and if they have bigger friends. This all came from the field journal of the Slayer, Branton Kapoor. This was recovered from his frozen remains, unfortunately. We have some more information from a personal journal of Dr. Shahid Pravani. He went on to talk about the Ori. The Ori has records of Boreus that dated from a century ago. I've seen those records, and the disbelieving notes my predecessors scribbled all over them. Impossible, they called it, a hoax. Clearly, the delusions of a slayer who spent too much time in the sky. And if Ether cannot make anything possible, even a giant horned beast that can control flying minions with only its mind. One thing is indisputable. The Ori believed this behemoth to be long extinct. Clearly, they were mistaken. And lastly, we have a handwritten note that was discovered on the floor of Borman's smithy. Brought you a few gifts. 3, each one different. A spitter, a stalker, a bomber. Haven't seen anything this strange before, and I know you like strange things. At least I think so. Look, maybe you can do something with them. Maybe not. Whatever. Right back or don't. Hammer boy. You're not so cool. Maybe. Well, with all the information that we have learning about Boreus, it seems as though he controls other flyers. And it seems as though each one of these flyers are capable of doing different things. We have a spitter, we have a stalker, we have a bomber. And this guy has clearly lived for a very long time. In fact, a century ago. But that in itself, knowing that Boreus is back, is amazing. Boreus is best thought of as not a single behemoth, but as a whole host of creatures. As such, slayers who hunt this behemoth will need to employ new tactics and strategies to secure a kill. Each of the Boreus minions can fly. In fact, Dr. Priyana believes this is why they were first encountered scattered across the Shattered Isles, long before the Boreus itself was spotted, and each one specializes in a different form of aggression. These minions are psionically connected to their master, which means slayers cannot simply ignore them. Now we got a whole list of command performance notes, and we're going to talk about those right now. Slayers have given the minions of the Boreus descriptive nicknames so you can easily tell them apart. But of course, we got those nicknames derived from the handwritten note. Let's talk about the Stalker. Stalkers are lean, toothy creatures that prefer to surround slayers and jab them at their razor-sharp legs. This can easily be distinguished by their long, blade-like limbs, and they're slightly smaller than other minions. Small, fast, aggressive type guys. I can see them doing I want to say slashing damage or something like that. I feel like the game will probably break them down into a variety of damage types. This is just my guess, of course, but I can see that actually happening. We have spitters. Spitters prefer to strike from range, lobbing cold frost charged projectiles from their mouths. These icy spitballs can inflict a surprising amount of harm on suspecting slayers or unsuspecting ones, if that's a fact. And spitters are going to be pretty dope as well. I can see spitters performing very, very similar to Valamir. Those of you that haven't got a chance to fight Valamir is just another behemoth that was added to the game very recently. And they added a mechanic with Valamir to where he would summon turrets, basically turrets, and they would shoot lasers in various directional paths. And I can see the spitters performing a lot like that. Not lasers, but shooting projectiles that function a lot like grenades in a sense, or function a lot like one of the exotics that exist in the game, Molten Edict. I can see that happening and it being a frost effect. Maybe something that's going to do damage to you, eventually freeze you, of course, but slow you down if you get hit by numerous projectiles. I can see that being something that you got to watch out for. And lastly, we have bombers. Perhaps the most dramatic of the Boreus minions, self-destructive creatures that can prime their bodies with an explosive ether charge. Bombers sacrifice themselves to blast the Boreus foes, sometimes even taking other minions out with it. Well, that surprised me, because that is not what I thought the bomber was going to be. But we are now, we know that the bombers are going to function a lot like your typical bomb. They're going to blow up. There's going to be some kind of tell with them blowing up. Now, I don't think that tell is going to be a size thing. I think it's going to be a visual change in the bombers. I think the bombers are probably going to glow a color, possibly red, and they're going to blow up. We do know that when they blow up, they can take out other minions, so maybe we can use that to our advantage in the fights. And a couple of things we want to talk about is shields up. Slayers have learned the hard way that the Boreus is full of surprises. While it deals with minor threats, as many as a behemoth would, with hoof, horn, and tooth, it reacts to lethal attacks with innate defenses are necessary. If the Boreus takes too much harm, it can encase itself in an impenetrable layer of etheric ice. While Slayers can batter at this bizarre phenomenon, it is only by tackling the minions themselves can they charge their weapons with enough power to bring Boreus' cold protection crashing down. Well, shields up must be Boreus' special effect. It's letting us know that occasionally, probably after Boreus takes a certain amount of damage, he's going to put up an etheric wall, basically a little shield, and then that's when we're going to definitely have to take out those minions. If we take out enough of the minions, we're probably going to have a visual cue to let you know. Got his shield. A nice little mechanic I like. They also give us a little bit of an insight on what we can expect to drop from this guy. It says hoof, horn, and tooth when discussing the shields up section, and I believe that is a direct correlation to what we're going to get. So expect to aim for the face, like always, the foot, which I like, and the horns to get some good pieces for gear. And speaking of that gear is looking amazing. I think it looks really cool. I'm really liking the headpiece. It harkens back to Koshai, which I think is kind of nice. It's a very nice touch. I'm liking the overall aesthetic of the gear. I think it looks pretty cool. The Smith of Ramsgates have taken the rediscovery of the frost-feeding behemoth as an opportunity to further explore the talent of crafting frost gear. Armorsmith Mora has discovered Boreus' schematics, first conceived by her great-grandfather, and can't wait to put them in use. Wilbersmith's Wills, Borman, you know Wills, that's our go-to guy, on the other hand, is creating all new designs made from Ostian strength and Ramsgate style. So that looks awesome. I think that this gear looks really amazing. I can't wait to hop in and fight this guy. On the horizon, as the Boreus descends upon the islands of the Ram formations, other mysterious abound in the streets of Ramsgate. Lush foliage is creeping around in the city, along the strange Farslayers visiting from distant islands unknown as the Wildlands. Why are they here? What do they want? Perhaps Celia, Ramsgate's resident Farslayer, could say if she wanted, and usually she doesn't. Well, hopefully with that last passage, I feel like there might be a clue that Zelia might be the person to introduce us to this behemoth. And it's a secret wish of mine to hope that there's a storyline behind this, because it will be fantastic to not only learn more about Boreus through storyline dialogue, but learn more about Zelia and other residents of Ramsgate as well. I'm looking forward to fighting this guy, and once we do fight him, we will give it initial impressions of our very first hunt and thoughts with him, especially after we get the gear. We're going to show that off as well, and I'm excited to hunt this guy because this is a new evolution and a new step in the combat mechanics in Dauntless, and it's an exciting thing. They've been ramping up and building up towards this moment, and I don't believe that this is the last behemoth with the game coming out for release very, very soon. I feel as though this is only one behemoth down the line of many more complex behemoths, and it's exciting to see, knowing that Valimir has a turret mechanic, and now we actually have flying minions that we can expect to be on the battlefield. I mean, that in itself is super fantastic and amazing. Stay here and you'll be officially up to date on the latest in Dauntless, ranging from patch notes, news and updates, community Q&A roundups, educational videos, and much more. Anyone that's made it this far in the video, lastly, I just want to say thank you. If you enjoy the video, please give it a like and a share, and join the fleet by hitting that sub button. Until then, this sailor be out in the open ocean. Peace.